rocks up in the concrete. Take a step back, she's coming through. Maybe looking shady, she's on the run. Maybe she'll find the sun. I feel that sweet Indian summer. Feel the heat. Gotta feel the heat. How did we do it? Sorry. All the live long day. All the live long day. I'll be moving along, singing my song, running around, ain't nothing wrong. All the live long day. Say all the live long day. All the live long day. I say all the live long day.
Hey, Christy, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
All right. Hey, today, since we've have so much of a problem in Texas, I wanted to go ahead and talk with one of my longtime LinkedIn connections, Christy Elise, and she's from Gulf Coast Produce, and she could kind of explain all the crazy things that are happening in the supply chain right now. And since everybody pretty much eats produce, I figured it would be a good chance to talk with you. Last time I was going to go ahead and do something, it was right in the middle of COVID, and you were busy. You were real busy. So I figured we'd do it later. So I figured let's go ahead for another emergency time, the flood of, the freeze of Texas. So anyway, one thing I do want to say is that Christy does a great, super awesome, fantastic job with LinkedIn. I think you have what, 7,000 followers?
Something like that.
7,000 followers. And the thing that she posts all the time, she's always posting stuff about whatever fruit or vegetables in season or what she just got in. I actually take a lot of her photos and use it for some of my posts because they're usually very, very colorful and they're good looking. You wouldn't send me a bad looking photo, would you?
Absolutely not. No way.
So anyway, that's what you're a good source of some great photos. So that's definitely what I use there. So hey, how did things work out last week? What did you have to do when the freeze happened? What was the first company that called you up and said we're not delivering? When did it all start? When did the problem start? I guess I would say.
Well, it was starting over the weekend. We were already getting a jump start on what the weather was looking like up north in Mississippi and Jackson, Mississippi, and then west of us that we delivered to Lafayette, Louisiana. So we had to look into our distribution locally because, the food service industry, it's already been hit hard from COVID. And then we went through a hurricane and now this winter weather that, Southerners, we deal with it, but we're not prepared as well as up north from us who, this is how they live. In the South, we don't have the equipment to get the roads clear for our trucks to make it safely to Jackson, Mississippi, and to Lafayette, Louisiana. So for 2 days, we couldn't make it to those markets. Then we had trucks coming in from California that couldn't make it through Houston, that had to stay where they were, just stay put. And we had Tennessee trucks coming in from Tennessee down to Biloxi that they too couldn't make it here. So to help our chefs and our restaurants, we had whole product, which is not cut, it's not diced, but what we were waiting on was our diced, our value-added fresh produce for our restaurants and our chefs. So we sent out whole produce because we know how important it is, to service your guest and keep the money coming in so you can spend for your debt and everything. So we did everything we could to make sure that everyone was made or had something to prepare for their guests at their restaurants.
I think the same thing happened during COVID. Remember, people at the beginning of COVID, people bought what they liked to buy.
Yeah.
And then later down the road, they bought what they didn't exactly like to buy, but it was better than having nothing. And
Absolutely.
And what I'm talking about is just like you said, like the onions. If you go to the store and and the diced onions are not there, a bag of whole onions is much better than having no onions. How do you cook anything in South Louisiana or Southern Mississippi or Southern Alabama without onions? And
Absolutely.
what about the Trinity? I would imagine you do you do real well with the blend, right?
Yeah, we do have the Creole blend, your diced celery, onions, bell peppers, but those were the items that were stuck in transition to the South.
And that's something you can't make a jambalaya or a gumbo without that.
No, but you can sure make it out of whole product. You just got to, put a little labor in there and get it diced up to make sure you're still serving your guests.
It might take a little longer, but at least you can do it.
Absolutely.
No doubt. And then at least when they go back to the chopped and diced stuff, then they will appreciate how great it is to have that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But go ahead.
What I was going to say is one thing a lot of people don't know about me is that I started in produce way back in the day. I was actually a produce manager in 1979. And man, the advances in produce and packaging has just completely changed over what it was way back in the day.
Yeah, lots of chefs are now looking at the labels. They want the brand that they want, and we make sure we bring it in for whatever they need.
I remember way back, you might have had a brand on the outside of the box, but you didn't necessarily have it on the product that you were selling. It was just, there's really not much branding back in the 70s. Boy, but that's changed. Do you sell any produce that doesn't have a brand on it? It's like it looks like there's a sticker on everything.
Right. No, everything is traceable. It's sustainable. Accountability. We have a traceability for food safety program that we're highly regulated with, which we should be. Everybody should be if you're going to sell fresh commodities. We know exactly who the grower was, who packaged the box, who was in the field cutting the product. Back in when you were doing it with the produce, you were able to just put the commodities in the box and get it shipped out. This day and age, with food safety programs in place, no, everything is traceability.
And that was back in the day when we were stamping everything. We didn't have this thing called a UPC code.
Right.
UPC code wasn't there. So things just have gotten so much easier.
Well, it helps us to notify a commodity if we have it. If the USDA or CDC sends out a recall, foodborne illness on a certain commodity, we can immediately trace it. Do we have it in our system? Did we ever have it in our system? Just from those barcodes. So it does make our life a lot easier to be able to track it immediately.
It's just so unbelievable how much has changed. No question about that. Hey, one thing I always worry about is the price of tomatoes. How have tomatoes done through this?
Tomatoes are making it okay. They're not outrageous. What's going to come probably in the next 2 weeks is your limes. The market is looking at almost doubling the price by Easter.
That's not good. That's not good. Because that's when my wife will say, make sure you go buy some limes.
Absolutely. Cinco de Mayo coming up, and that's the last thing we needed.
One thing I can tell you, I remember this. Back when I worked in Raceland, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And one day they sent me a case of plantains. Well, I got to tell you, there was nobody in my neck of the woods that knew what to do with that. Might have heard of it. And remember, there was no internet, so you couldn't look it up. And I don't think I sold any out of that whole case. And that was the only case I got during my time period.
Yeah, we go through a lot of plantains. You'd be surprised. People do some amazing things with that product.
One thing, your typical American doesn't realize is how great plantain chips are. They are awesome. But the thing is, most people don't get a chance to try them, or never try them, so they don't know.
Right. Yep.
And they actually have a few extra vitamins. They got some health benefits too. So that's always good.
Yeah, we've got a lot of charities and the Heart association that's looking into, it's called Food for Medicine. And we're going to probably tap into it to see what we can do to help our states, with Mississippi being one of the top obesity rate, to be able to provide fresh food for medicine and try to help people, educate them about the commodities and how to prepare it and how to cook it, but mainly to get it to them. Because,
Right.
some areas just don't have that option to be able to shop for fresh produce, and we want to make that available for them.
Yeah, one thing that was pretty cool is throughout the country that you never were able to go to like a convenience store and buy an apple or a banana, and that's changed in the present time period. I don't know exactly how that. It might be a little complicated to get that produce to certain retailers, but it gets done. I think it's very, very important. The same thing goes for like the hotels. A lot of times the only produce item they may have is a banana and a apple, but at least it's something different.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to start seeing more fresh produce in different areas that you didn't normally see or had an option to purchase fresh produce.
You never know. There may be a day when you go to Home Depot and Lowe's and find apples and bananas.
Absolutely. Yep, right next to the plywood.
Right next to the plywood. And then the other thing is, what about all the different dried fruit snacks and stuff like that? The further processed stuff that make it easy to carry with you. And then when you want that snack, it's a fruit snack instead of a piece of candy or a brownie. Of course, there's nothing wrong with a piece of candy or brownie, but you know what I'm talking about.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the tomatoes are doing okay. What about all the different lettuce coming from California? That's not making it to you?
No, the roads are now clear to where they're able to come into our docks, and we're unloading California as we speak. But
I thought you were.
Yeah, we needed that California truck to come in. But a lot of the produce too is now changed to a different region where it's in the Rio Grande Valley, and McAllen, Texas is being harvested, a lot of the product. But, to answer anyone's questions today about what all has been damaged or what's not salvageable, it's going to take several weeks to assess their crops. We don't know anything right now.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, the guys that test all that, they got so much ground to cover in order to be able to figure that out. So yeah. It's gonna it's gonna be a while. Let me ask you this question: when you got started, people bought whole lettuce, whether it's romaine or iceberg. But how much has that converted to pre-cut now? As in your situation, I know everybody has a different situation, but
yeah, it's not even 50-50. Most people want the whole product so they can get everything out of that commodity. We're about 30% of value added.
Okay, and then maybe retail, maybe it's higher. Maybe, possibly.
I don't do a whole lot of retail. I'm just a wholesale food service distributor.
Yeah. So, but it's amazing all the different blends that have come out. They mix it every which way that you can to make it easy for the operator.
Absolutely. I mean, we bring things in, your normal staple items, but then we also have a variety of specialty produce that it comes in from all across the globe, just for what the chefs want. If they want it, we'll get it.
Okay. The thing that's coming around down the road is the Strawberry Festival in Ponchatoula. That's pretty well known all over at least the South, I guess.
Oh, definitely.
The thing is, tell me the difference as far as the Louisiana type product compared to the California.
The Louisiana berries, we do help our local farmers, and Lowe's is one of them. And those berries, don't get me wrong, they're delicious. They're sweet as could be. They're just the cold chain has been broken. So for me, they don't hold as long as a berry that's come straight from the farm into the cold chain. You know, so the Driscoll berries are still sweet, as they're great, but the Louisiana berries, if you're not eating them immediately, they they just don't hold up as long. But they're still incredible berries.
But they're very good, very good.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. And then the Creole tomatoes, you know, when those are
that's another good example. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we bring in the Creole tomatoes. We have a lot of chefs here, even though some of us are from Louisiana, they know when they're in season and they make sure their tomatoes for the time of the year that those Creoles are in season, that we have it for them.
But you know, if tomatoes are coming in from Alabama or Georgia or Florida, you know, that's great. It's an American tomato. No, don't get me wrong. But when the local stuff comes out, it's just a great story that you can tell, you know, as far as the restaurants are concerned. And I think that does a lot to get some extra people in the door.
Absolutely. Because, you know, we truly, everyone in the South, I don't care if you're from the North, but once you move to the South, the hospitality here, the part that we all truly stick together and help one another. You know, I wish I could allocate all of my business to just local growers. Unfortunately, I can't because of the labels, the corporate business we carry. You know, they have contracts all over the country.
Oh, it gets complicated.
It does. But Eubanks in Lucedale, Mississippi, great local grower. We support him as well as Lauza. And then again, the weather changes and they've already harvested. So you have to wait until the spring or the summer when their other commodities are being grown. In California, it's just a continuous pattern that, you know, they're growing. And then they switch over to Florida.
Yes, I have Krista saying onions. Let's see what are definitely a must. Is it? Let's see.
Fresh or dehydrated?
Yeah, that's Krista. And then let's see what she's got. Just checking in, but onions always. Okay, so we got a big onion fan.
Good.
No doubt about that. Let me see if I get back to. All right, here we go. Hey, sometimes you can get lost popping out from different views. Okay, let's see. So the deal with the tomatoes are a big deal. The strawberries are a big deal from over here. What else? What else is something that you got to have when it comes out?
Well, we help our local herbs. Even though a lot of our herbs come from California, we have a local grower that is with the microgreens. You know, it's cut right then, and it's coming straight from the farm to the chef with his preparation. You asked what commodity was. What did you ask me about?
No. What special thing? You talking about the herbs? I'm glad that you talked about that. Because I had asked you a question about what's the most perishable thing, and you told me the herbs are definitely very perishable. One thing I got to tell you is that cilantro. If you go back 20 years ago, cilantro wasn't really a big deal, but it's a big deal now, right?
Oh God, yeah. We carry pounds of cilantro, rosemary, thyme, basil, mint, you name it. The microgreens, microbloods, bull bloods, we have it. We carry a lot of the herbs for our chefs.
Because if you go way back, it was all parsley. It was dominated. I mean, if you grew up here, it was all parsley.
Right.
I don't think anybody was, when I grew up, I don't think anybody was cooking with cilantro down here, but man, it's just so much a whole new ball game.
Yep. And you seen the mango with the salsa, you know, a lot of our restaurants, that's what they put in their salsa. And I was like, okay, is it good? It's incredibly good to put fresh mango into salsa. Did we freeze? Huh?
Sweet potatoes would be another locally grown staple item.
I think we froze. Are you still there? Randall? Oh, man.
Don't leave me now.
Don't leave me now. Shoot. It's not on my side. Randall, you're stuck. I don't know if you're still on. We've been on for 20 minutes. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3. I don't know if I should log off or what. Randall, are you still on? Okay, I'm logging off.
Log back in and see if it's still on.
Okay.